Welcome back, and our second segment is going to be the main segment. Actually, we have our prominent guest, Dr. Behed Ouda. He's a professor of political science and international relations, and he is going to give us his insights over electing a new president. Of course, a new president, a new administration coming over into the Oval Office in Washington, D.C. New era. President Donald Trump is starting his term and already in office and starting with new decisions. Of course, we're going to elaborate on this more in this segment, and we're going to see if he's going to deliver his promises to the American people, whether these are good promises or no, whether it's going to come to the expectations of the Americans, and more the effect of the new U.S. administration policy over the Middle East, and whether economy and politics could be detached from each other. We all know that they can never be detached. What's the influence of what's happening on the Middle East? And good morning, Dr. Ouda.
Good morning, ma'am.
A very good morning to you, sir. As Dina said, we are going to discuss Trump. From the 20th of January, since his very first day in the White House, Trump proved that he is going to be the same Trump of the presidential campaign. And he started even with just canceling everything about this Obamacare law. But let me start from the latest. With the EU leaders convening in Malta, they spoke a lot about Trump as a new challenge. And they did a lot not to oppose his policies, but to tell him in an indirect way that they are not going just to follow. They signed this deal, or they're going to support Libya about this migration issue, despite what Trump did in banning 7 Islamic countries, its nationals from entering the United States. And they also spoke about Brexit in specific, telling Trump that he should not deal this way, or urging other countries to follow the steps of Britain to get out of the European Union. How do you see the Europeans reacting to Trump's decisions?
First, let me tell you about Trump. You have to understand Trump as playing the game, by playing the idea of the far right. Trump is basically a far right person, and as a radical far right, and because he's a far right, that's why the Europeans are not seeing him as one of them, because Europeans believe most of the Europeans either in the conservatives as the Merkel and the others, or socialists, or centrists. So we have the variety of the European, the various people, or various government of Europeans, basically ideologically is against Trump. Ideologically is against the mainstream of Trump, or representing Trump. That is to say, that's why they say, as you put it nicely, they say that we are not going to follow. But why we are not going to follow? Because the main ideas of Trump is absolutely and categorically is different than what Europeans absolutely believe in. That you have to be somehow in within the center of the space, of political space. Means either you are socialist, you are centrist, or you are conservative. That is the first time now in the United States we have a president who is far right radical. And that's why it's a challenge for the European. That's why they see it as a challenge. in terms of policies, in terms of defense posture, in many issues. That's why Europeans put their foot down, and they started now they start elaborating to have a specific or different posture, either in defense or even in defense or in social issues or something.
Dr. Ouda, of course, the restriction order that was signed earlier by the new U.S. administration evoked a lot of debate worldwide, like you kindly mentioned, and Nermeen drew the attention to the viewers. But also it was stopped by judiciary. I mean, it was upheld on the other side, or opposed by judiciary.
But today is more federal judge.
Of course, and by demonstrations from Americans, white Americans themselves. That reflects something. That
reflects the wedge in the American society.
However, we respect the American administration, protect its sovereignty and protect its national security and all these values and everything. But still it reflects something. If you like to elaborate.
Yeah, it reflects
on both sides, the American people and the new administration.
Yeah, but the American people is divided, is split between you have to understand that why American people elected Trump. You have to understand why American people not only elected Trump and support Trump with a great enthusiasm. Why? Because there is a great problem in the American society. A problem in productivity. Jobs are flying over to China and Mexico. So labor, which many supporters of Trump came from labor camps and labor cities and so something like that. So that's why Trump has a great support in the society. Yes, Trump doesn't have the support of the liberals, of the socialists, of many quarters in the American society, but still he has a strong support in the labor camp and in the business camp.
In his very first words after taking oath, he said it. Buy American, hire American.
Yeah.
Those are the rules of Donald Trump. But sir, this is the mentality of a businessman, not a mentality of a politician. I mean, he is against blocks. He wanna negotiate all the trade treaties America is involved in. He wants to have a wall to be built to separate the borders between the United States and Mexico. I mean, he is against globalization, to be accurate, if I may say so.
Against liberal globalization.
Is this applicable? I mean, can we or can a country like the United States be separated from the whole world?
No. But that's why Trump is creating his own bloc, international bloc, the liberal, the far right bloc. That's why he's aligning himself with far right groups in Europe, aiming that they would win the elections in France and in Germany. Now we are going.
But sir, his men are not doing the same. I mean, Mattis was in Japan or in China just to prove to them that everything is going to be okay.
To calm them down.
And others were also saying to the NATO, "Don't worry, we are inside the NATO. We're not going to leave this alliance."
I think
Trying to ease down.
Trying to ease the shock,
If I can just interfere here.
Trump.
Exactly.
But as a matter of fact, that is the main contour. That is the main contour. The
main
Trump
outlines of his policy. And let me add to you,
and you can elaborate. Very sorry to tell you that.
Right, and you can elaborate, Dr. Ouda, because he promised that he's going to move the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem al-Quds.
Yes.
And he's going to do it, but he said we're going to postpone it for a while. And he's comforting people. He said he's going to build that wall, and he started off later after. I mean, they're giving the new administration are giving themselves time.
Yeah.
But eventually they're going to affect the policy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you can correct me.
I agree with you. I agree with you. He's playing the game, of just easing you to absorb the shock, to absorb the shock, Trump shock, because he issued 16 by now 16 executive orders. Only one executive order was objected on through court. That is the concern immigration or migration or immigration. But the other orders moved through, eased through and being accepted.
But the repercussions of these decisions, sir,
accepted in the society, accepted in the state.
Let me give you another example, because the repercussions of these decisions, at least it might not be for the best interest of America's foreign policy. For example, like the one with Iran. Now, once again, there are media reports saying the whole agreement between Iran or between Tehran and Washington is going to be reviewed.
Sanctions. The deal, the nuclear deal.
And sanctions imposed on Tehran. And there were tweets between Donald Trump and Mohammad Javad Zarif, the Iranian foreign minister.
Let me explain that to clarify things. Now, nobody now talk about the nuclear deal. Nobody talk about nuclear.
Then why he is imposing more sanctions on Tehran, sir?
That's something else. It has to do with ballistic missile, because even under the Obama administration, imposed restrictions and imposed sanctions on missiles and ballistic missiles. That is the continuation of the same tradition of Obama. That we distinguish between two issues here. One is the nuclear stuff, and the second is the missile, the middle range missile, ballistic missiles. And until now, Iran hasn't signed anything related to ballistic missile, and that's why it's easy for the American foreign policy to play with.
What about the repercussions, sir? It was yesterday. It was announced that a piece of the U.S. Navy moved to Yemen, and it seems that something is being prepared in between the relation or the agreement because of this. Between Tehran and Washington. It
hasn't anything to do with the nuclear, because that's over. Because nuclear is now, what's nuclear? Nuclear deal. Nuclear deal is not an American deal. It's an international deal. It's a UN deal. It's a UN deal. It's a 5+1.
Yeah.
5+1 means that the five of the permanent seats plus Europe plus the Union. That is the Merkel and basically Germany. So what exactly? That's absolutely different, because you have to have the consent of the other four powers in the UN. But as a matter of fact, we are talking about different issue here. That is what the issue is. The issue of missiles. The issue of middle-range missile, which Iran until now hasn't signed. I have to clarify that for the viewers.
Yeah.
Yani that's absolutely different than and the issue you mentioned concerning the Yemeni things, concerning the Yemeni things, you have to understand about that United States hasn't reacted to a blow up of a cargo, of American cargo in the Gulf of Aden. Hasn't reacted yet. So he's bringing the issue back. He's bringing the issue back. So that's an absolutely different issue. Don't mix things.
Right, we'll have to wait and see, because with the new administration of Donald Trump, things are, events are unleashed every day.
Yeah,
with every morning,
we
keep watching
the game of politics, which I'll never understand.
That's a totally new level of games with the new president, Donald Trump. Thank you very much, Dr. Gayad Ouda, Professor of Political Science and International Relations. We're very delighted to have with you in our main segment of the show. And I guess this brings us to the end of this edition of today's breakfast show. Many thanks to you, Narbeen Abdurrahman.
Thank you, Dina.
And my name is Dina Hussein, and we wish you a very good day. Until then, until we see you again tomorrow, that's a goodbye.